This is a presentation of SBE 15, New York City.
This is why you do site inspections. This is the site I visited yesterday and I had to look twice. That is not an optical illusion. That is not optical.
Don't get too close.
Yeah, and I've got a bunch of pictures of that, but here's the reason why. If you take a look at it over here, the guy wires have pulled the tower apart essentially. And that's the bottom level of the guy wires. This tower is collapsing. So
You don't want to climb.
you don't want to climb on it. I called the owner of the tower today and said, do you realize your tower is in the process of collapsing? Oh, yes, we're going to replace that.
Preferably before it collapses.
This is in the process of collapsing. So this is why an engineer is valuable, because you're looking for things. You're like a doctor. And everybody that's on our meeting here has a story and an experience to tell as well, I am sure. All right, I'm gonna stop screen share. One thing I want to do here is, I know we have Mike Kluger here. Mike is an experienced engineer residing in Brooklyn. He's a Hofstra RHU alum. Resource. As I go through, there are a couple of names that I see that are on here. I may call you out. Haley Neeson. Haley is an intern, actually one of my stations, and looking to get in the media, and reach out to her. We got together, we met at a Dunkin' and talked about what she wanted to do. And I said, you should take a look at this. And I sent her the link and here she is. Haley, say hello.
Hi.
So,
We wave, say hi, Andy.
Lori Squire, who's Herb Squire's wife. Lori has a wealth of experience as well. And she comes a bit from the journalistic side. So Lori, say hello. And I'm sure if anybody had a question for Lori, or if anybody wanted to pick her mind about producing audio and doing what she's done before, I know Lori would be more than happy to do that. Right, Lori?
Right, and my work, especially at the Met, I was a broadcast stage manager, and I was somehow classified as an engineer because I had to work with an IFB, I had to work with timers, computer, and giving cues and everything, so they considered me an engineer.
Cody, who has roots here in this building. Cody, what are you doing now? You are in radio, and when you left here, you went to work for Salem, and then you went to work for Salem in Philadelphia after New York, and now you went west to Pittsburgh. So what are you doing radio-wise right now?
Radio-wise, I am the adult supervision to the chief engineer of Carnegie Mellon's radio station, and overall having also teaching, broadcasting classes and whatnot. So we got folks at both Penn State and Carnegie Mellon learning engineering. Previously, they've never had any actual infrastructure for that, and it's all been kind of self-taught. So kind of recreating what we started at Hofstra. So.
Yeah, One World.
What was that?
One World.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
The show you're on every week?
No, I couldn't hear you. But yeah. Yeah, also co-host, co-produce One World Radio Show, which for folks in the New York metropolitan area airs Tuesday at 4 p.m. on WRHU. International collaboration between WRHU, WRCT, and Bush Radio in Cape Town, South Africa. And we're an open source collaborative partnership of shared audio network similar to Pacifica or NPR, except this one doesn't charge licensing fees. But yeah, some pretty, as Andy was saying earlier, pretty cool experiences getting to go around the world. And definitely, I also still do contract engineering, other things. I was presenting at a conference in northern Portugal this summer and ended up getting recruited to do some last minute engineering at the Porto City Symphony Hall. which is called the Casa de Musica. So definitely there's so many opportunities that you can do in engineering operations that you don't even think are a possibility when you're like, okay, well, let me just fix some wiring at this radio station.
Thank you. And Cody's a guy that, I had a project to rebuild one of the SUNY schools, their radio station after COVID. And Andy's like, we're rebuilding this. What if we bring some students in? So Cody was one of the students that came along, and we hired him and another individual to get involved, do work, run some cables, which was Cat5 cables, because it's like you have here, audio over IP. And it was a great experience for Cody. And he also learned what happens when the general contractor doesn't do exactly what they were supposed to do in putting a pathway into a room, and you have to create a pathway for a room with a hammer and kind of getting through a wall.
Yeah. Somehow had that experience and thought, you know what, I want to do this, and then ended up like chief engineering, running stations, kind of get stuck into it.
So I'm gonna, because, and this is perfect, this is another gentleman that just popped on, and yes, George, I'm calling you. George Marshall is chief engineer of Z100 and actually takes care of all of their automation systems at iHeart in New York City. George just got on, and George, I'm just kind of bragging about our membership and what people have done. George is at the part of his career where Bastard's going to retire in the end of October, and he's going to go on a cruise. Then we're going to see him again. But George, tell us about what you do and what has changed. You don't have to go that long, but I mean, what's your day like? What do you see?
Well, just because my priority is taking care of the automation systems doesn't mean that that's all I do.
Right.
Everything's all interrelated. The automation system talks to the WheatNet systems and gets information from satellite receivers and feeds studio STL links. It's just, everything's involved there.
George, where do you work?
I work at Z100 or iHeartRadio in New York, whatever we're going to talk about it.
So, George is a guy that's been there for a long time, and this is what you can jump from job to job to job, or you can be there and build the facility, and that's kind of what George has done. So that's why he knows every aspect of that connectivity he was just talking about.
That would be the third facility.
That's true. That is true. He's on number 3. He will not be around for number 4. I guarantee you that.
Mr. Marshall,
Yes.
could we bring some students to visit Z100 before you leave?
We'd have to clear that with the director of engineering, Josh Haddon.
Okay, I'll bring 6 or 8 students, okay?
Well,
She's arranged drawing off the list.
Yeah. And this is something, we'll get to this in a moment when Andy and I talk a little bit further about what we've done over the summer. Another individual I want to point out here, Nick Langham. Nick writes right now for Radio World. He's in the Philadelphia area. Nick is like super friggin' smart and writes code, and he has this program I'm gonna let him tell you about where you can like look at your phone and see what radio stations are nearby. Nick is willing and wants to mentor somebody. So like if you're into coding, if you're into radio, if you're into audio production, Nick is a resource. Like I said, he's wicked smart. And I'm like, whoa. So Nick, say hello.
You're way too kind, Bud. But how's everyone doing? It's great to be here. Just turn down my. I always have a police scanner playing in the background, so I'm never like more than 5 feet from a radio, but that's just me. But yeah, I in many facets, day to day, I write about the industry for Radio World, and I think just to Bud and Andy, what they were talking about, like engineering is never going to go out of style, whereas like on-air positions, it's tough. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. But good help, and we're not talking, I'm like, just hard work and being able to maintain some of this equipment. We're not talking anything crazy here. Like that skill is, the more I cover the industry on a day to day, like it's treasured right now. People that have the capability and have the interest, like you all might. The other aspect, I love college radio, and I feel like doing it in the professional program at Villanova University. They have a WXBU, which is a Class A student-run station. That sort of re-sparked my interest in the industry, and so I'm since graduated, but I get to work with and still sort of a part-time advise the students there. So I know all about college radio. I love it. I still host a show myself, Smooth Jazz, if anyone's interested. So I love college radio. Anything I can do to cultivate that interest, I'm all about. And the project Bud mentioned, I got to do as a graduate student, the Radioland mobile app, which for iOS or Android, you could download it, and basically anywhere you're located, pulls your location off your device. It's not streaming. It tells you, you turn on your FM radio. What can I hear? So it's a passion of mine. And I think, I've gotten to work with some really cool students at Villanova right now. Bunch of graduating seniors that I've seen sort of, get to attach themselves to the industry. And I think, being able to keep that going, obviously it looks different in 2025 than it did in, say, 1995. But I think there's still a lot of excitement and potential. So it's great to be here. Great to be a part of this.
So I want to go back up the list here to Jeff Schick, because Jeff is a gentleman that I met in the 90s, and he was working for a company. He is now operating his own business, so he's very entrepreneurial. And this is something to think about too. Maybe you're working for yourself, maybe you're working for somebody else. There are people that can help you and guide you on that as well. But Jeff, why don't you tell us what you're doing now and how you got to this path? Because you've from being at WHUD in upstate New York, up in Westchester County. Let's hear what you're doing now, which
Sure.
is really cool.
Sure thing. I own and run Sprite Media, and if you look on the board there, Keith Paglia, wave Keith, is also working with me at Sprite Media, and we just hit our 10th anniversary. I didn't really mean to start my own business. I kind of fell into it when I decided some of the big corporate companies that were letting folks go wasn't the path I wanted to go on anymore. And man, was that an education. My last job that I had, I was a director of engineering, and I spent more time doing spreadsheets than I did with equipment. My whole career goes way back on this call, because if you see sitting there is Mr. John Schmidt from Adelphi University. John, wave to everybody. I went to Adelphi and I participated at WBAU, which is going to have a get together in a week or two, which I plan to attend. And that was an education in itself, which I carried my career. I also worked at ABC TV with Mr. John Schmidt, which is why connections and meeting people, even on the college level, is very important. I've been to all 50 states, and I've worked in most of those. I've done TV, I've done radio, I've done satellite, and now if you see me looking away, I'm doing some coding on a Linux computer, which is making me a little nutty while this call is going on. My company builds studios, takes care of radio stations. One of our clients is WBGO, the jazz station in Newark, New Jersey, which I'm very involved with. I also do a lot of work with Cumulus Media. So I saw a path, because a lot of the local stations, or most likely the larger ones, have been letting people go to the point where they can't function anymore. So they have to hire people outside of their company. There's just not enough there. So there are opportunities there. I highly recommend for the young folks, do internships. I did an internship when I was at Adelphi with WGSM, WCTO, the two most uncool stations on the planet. But they let me touch every piece of equipment, and I went from intern to production manager in 3 months. And
Yeah. You weren't the one who got locked on the roof, though, at the studio.
no, I got stuck in the elevator, not on the roof. But in actually,
someone of our PAU.
yes,
people.
that was one of the students at WBAU was working there, and that's how I got that. So don't let anybody fool you about it. It's the energy, the knowledge means something, but finding the right people at the right time also means something, and that's really what SBE is all about. I also work for SBE on the national level, and there is a mentoring program. And right now they're a little short on the mentors. There's more mentees than mentors. So I definitely recommend that the folks on the call, the older folks like myself, get involved with the mentoring program, because it's a win-win situation. You get credits, it's of value, and you know, you can learn something from the young folks there. I'm just trying to increase my vocabulary by using the word like skibbity and delulu. Whatever the young folks are speaking there. Yes, I'm old. Anyway, I encourage everybody to get as involved as you can. There's, as I mentioned, the NAB New York is coming up. I know classes are in session, so that's tough. But one of the things, I'm just going to give you a real quick story here, is Mr. John Schmidt there asked me, I asked him if can I go on a tour of ABC TV. And I believe, John, I think the tour was 5 hours, something like that, where you were explaining every cable in the building. And I was,
how long you want to spend there? We could spend days.
Right,
Except
right.
it's all gone now. They've moved. I haven't been to the new facility.
So
the existing facility on 66th Street, the buildings are being demolished as we speak.
wow. I had an allergy attack behind Peter Jennings during a newscast. That was fun.
The playout air is up down in Texas, but there's a big operation in New York still. They're down on Hudson Street.
Right. Everybody moved.
Unrelated.
When I worked at Hot 97, they were down on Hudson Street, and that was the start of everybody moving downtown, except for iHeart. But
it's a block away where WNYC has that studio that opens onto the street.
Oh yeah, the green space.
Yeah, it's 1 block south of that.
We've had meetings there. They're friends of ours, and there's a lot of connections to be made. And just like Bud said, how we've known each other for probably more than 30 years, and the same for some other folks as well. So you use this; it's what you make of it, right? And Andy will give you some good information. Bud will give you some good information, and just about any member, the older folks like us, will give you realistic ideas, which you may not get in other places. So good luck, everybody. Thanks for listening to my story. And I was hoping to be there in person. I'll do that next time.
Hey, Bud, if I can jump in.
Okay. Yes, please, George.
I want to encourage you, don't give up if the first time the answer is no. My first interview with Josh Haddon, he said there, liked what you're doing, but you need a little bit more experience. 2 years later, I was working for Z100. So always pursue. If it's what you want to do, keep on pursuing. Take more classes, do more mentoring, learn more. Don't give up.
I was turned down my first ABC interview as well.
Yeah, and my story is when I was 17, I was trying to get on the air at the local radio station. I love listening to the radio, and I wanted to get on the air. I had to go in and do demo tapes. I'd record them in a studio, which what I had to read was from the Associated Press Newswire. It was a teletype machine, and I had to read that copy. And this was in the seventies. There was all this stuff going on in the Middle East like there is now. And I had to try to figure out how to pronounce all these names. I sucked. I was horrible. And I was ready to give up. And my dad even said to me, hey, what's going on? I have to pick you up again tomorrow. After you do, I said, you know what? Maybe you're right. I've been doing this a year. They didn't hire me. I keep going in. I don't want to cancel tomorrow, but I'll just go in and do it. And then when I did that tape, they're like, okay, can you start tomorrow night? Yeah, sure. And that's what did it. And now I own the station, so which is kind of weird. I own the first and the third radio station that I worked at. That word that I learned was perseverance.
Because of the level of competition to get into the media industry, turn downs are just part of the process. And you have to accept that. Don't let it turn you off. Don't let it get to you. You stay persistent and you keep doing good work, and eventually, hopefully, you'll get recognized.
Hey, but
Don't get discouraged because you get turned down for the first few opportunities.
so I want to hit some of the, what I believe are membership. Fred Krampitz. Now, here's a case. Here's a gentleman I don't think I know. I probably know often, but I'm going to ask Fred to unmute and tell us a little bit about yourself, your membership in SBE, and what you do.
Okay, hello everyone. See, I gotta turn off my police scanner too. Yeah, I started back in the 80s at my college radio station, WTCC at Springfield Technical Community College. And ironically, I'm actually still there as chief engineer part-time. But I started working at the local radio stations, local television stations. This was back in the day when everyone was separate and maybe you had an AM/FM combo. And ironically, that led to working for a company that made television transmitters, UHF television transmitters, and ended up being with that company for 31 years and thoroughly loved it. Unfortunately, it kind of went out of business like a lot of other companies have, but it was starting at different stations, and talking about mentoring, I was very fortunate. There was an engineer that worked in the Springfield market named Ken Jones, and some folks, older folks in your chapter may remember the name, but a lot of us in the Springfield area got our start working for him, interning and being assistant engineer, and kind of following our dreams, and have been in broadcast engineering since. So a lot of times you can take a different course from what you originally, started off at, as wanting to work, strictly in radio, and then working in television, and then, working for a manufacturer. And I actually worked in customer service technical support, and actually found that very rewarding, that it was good to be able to help out fellow engineers who called in and had issues, and you helped troubleshoot, and you had to go through certain steps. You had to be organized. So it's what the expression broadcast engineering has been very good to me.
Well, that's good. And that was Comark that you worked for, right?
Right. And
Yeah.
then actually got involved with the SBE back in the late 80s, and like many chapter chairs, I'm the chapter chair for the Connecticut Valley chapter, which actually sits between New York City and Boston. So a lot of times we would work with the chapter chairs of those two, and when a vendor would be coming through or some sort of presentation, we'd kind of squeeze them in the middle to stop into the Hartford area and do presentations. So that, I also got involved with SBE, and ironically became chapter chair when nobody else wanted it. And so that's another path that, little did I think I would be involved with the SBE.
Well, thank you for what you're doing, and we'll be talking more, because there are some ideas that Andy and I have as far as collaboration with neighboring chapters. We're trying to get Philadelphia engaged in our chapter as well, because that chapter it kind of fell apart, but I have the mailing list, I have the membership. And we're trying to bring them into what we're doing too, because I don't want to say this is a club, but this is a networking opportunity. It's a network of professionals. I'm gonna just call here on Barry. Here's another gentleman that has rich experience in media and in broadcast. Barry, you want to introduce him? You have to unmute though.
I'm a video guy. What do I know about audio? Actually, I've been out to Hofstra a couple times, guest lecture. Thank you, Andy. And we connected working in a broadcast facility in New York. My short story is I go between the world of broadcasts and live event engineering. My specialty is video and computer networks. I know audio because I was an A2 early on. I don't have the ears to mix, so I scurried back into the world of video because of that. My specialty is troubleshooting. I'm also an adjunct at CUNY, New York City College of Technology, and I'm also, very into mentoring, teaching, and all that. Like I said, I was at Hofstra a couple times, guest lecturing. If I can help people, mentoring, things like that, feel free to reach out to me.
Thank you. Appreciate
Welcome.
that. I think the theme here is you're finding there are people that have been in your place before. We all started somewhere. The time is a little bit different. It's different now, but going on something back then, we were saying, oh, not as good as the old days, right, John? So everything changes, everything is relative, but there's still opportunity. There are more people on here that I know, but let's go around the room here and let you guys introduce yourself and just, tell us what your interest is. We want to kind of feel, you can be brief, that's okay, but what are you interested in? Why are you here? What are you studying? Let's start here, the gentleman in blue shirt.
Yeah, all right, my name is Giuseppe. I'm a senior here, journalism major. Like you guys said, I'm more interested in being on air, producing things instead of engineering. That being said, I did take a liking to engineering. Biggest thing I've done was the Islander games that we do here, which is probably the toughest thing I'm gonna do here. I do like engineering though, and I do understand that most cases that's where the money is, and I'm willing to adapt and adjust to that. But if I had to choose one perfect path, I would like to be somewhere on air.
I'll give you a little secret. I've done more on-air work being an engineer than I would have done if I was trying to be on air. So see, yeah.
One thing that you keep in mind, and I'm just going to go off a little bit here. Andy and I worked with a group of students over the summer talking about Connecticut, Fred. They're based in Fairfield, they're musicians, so they're studying audio, mostly audio engineering and audio production, and we made an introduction to them to the broadcast side. Now, some of them are just hardcore musicians studying trumpet, jazz, jazz again, and more audio production, data, working with data programming or something. It's some coding, yeah. And one of the other students is like, you know what? As we invited them to Andy's station and took them to Dreamland Studio in upstate New York and took them to Utopia Studios in upstate New York, they also came to New York City and had a tour of New York Public Radio, which was referenced earlier, the green space. Got to see how real studios are built. I mean, you guys have that here. These are real professionally built studios. And they ended up at Empire and got the broadcast tour of Empire, not the touristy tour. So the one thing that they got out of that is, I want to learn about broadcast. I want to see this because it's more, and it will give me an edge. And that's the key. the more you know and the more experience you have in allied fields, and you will be better suited for a job, and that may mean you getting a job over somebody else.
I want to add one other thing to that. It's also what we know, make contacts. Yes. The engineering business, the chief engineer's job is sometimes fixing equipment or configuring equipment. But it's most important that you know how to get it fixed, not that you fix it yourself. And that's becoming more and more the case, because a lot of the stuff that they use now, you can look at it, you might be able to fix it. More likely, you got to figure out which thing is screwed up. It may be a software issue. And if it is hardware, you can send it back to the manufacturer to repair it, because you ain't gonna repair it yourself anymore. No more replacement resistors. So it's how to get it fixed. That's contacts, it's knowing you got your, used to have your Rolodex file. Now it's somewhere on your cell phone. All these people you can contact who can help you out when you got a problem.
This lady next.
I'm Piper.
Right.
And I'm Piper Sherry, sorry. Is what I wanted to do and what I do right now.
Yeah, you want to go? Yeah.
What I do right now, I'm sports director for WRHU, which is a nice name. And then what I want to do, I don't really know. I want to do something in the media world regarding sports.
So you know what, you brought up a good point. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. And I ended up getting on the air. The money sucked. I was still living at home, and it was nice that I'm a family guy. So that was good. But then things all came together and I realized, hey, here's deregulation. And then I got to the point where my company had 42 employees were running around the country, like Jeff was talking about before, building, maintaining stations, transmitter sites, studios, all of that stuff. So it's okay if you don't know right now, today, what you want to do, because as you go through this whole experience, you can learn more about an area. And again, ask questions like these guys were saying here. Explore, learn about as much as you can. So good for you. Next one.
I'm Parker, I'm a radio studies major. Right now, I like to dance around the outer layers of technology. I tried to solder an XLR cable once and it did not work out good. But I like to do a lot of things in the sports department, wishes I did more with them, which I do too. But I like to do things with my voice, but I really enjoyed the trying to solder XLR cables.
And learn how to solder, it's worthwhile. You can fix those XLR on the mic cable, and you'll know which end of the solder guard pick up and which end not.
I did learn that.
You figure that out really fast. Yeah, you do. And the smell of burnt skin is something that will resonate with you. And you'll know it. So, gentleman in red.
I'm Ethan. I'm a junior sports media major. I do a ton of sports. I'm the associate sports director that produced the sports talk show. I do a ton of gallery. I do a lot. I really want to learn more of the actual tech behind engineering, not just running the board and putting the contracts on the air. I really want to think the nuts and bolts, not just research some stuff.
If you're in the right place.
You are in the right place. You know, being part of this group and joining SBE and getting on the list and being part of the membership, which I'll speak to in a moment, there's so many opportunities that you will have to learn. So, next.
I'm Mike. I am a junior film major, and I mean, so far I'm a little newer to the station. I've been doing mostly just on-air stuff. That is kind of like my, I guess, area of preference. But I mean, engineering is extremely important to radio station in general. So I feel like this is extremely valuable to be learning here.
It's good that you recognize that, because once you get into radio or TV stations or even production facilities, but let's use radio and TV for now. You really have four parts that make it come together. You have the programming, you have the engineering, that infrastructure, sales, If you haven't heard that word, we'll talk a little more about that. And of course, there's administration. I can't forget that because my wife is my business manager and I could never forget her in what we do with my stations. So, but is there one department that's better than the other? In theory, no. Because it takes that team, everybody to make things work. If George Marshall didn't do what he did and keep those automation systems running, you turn on the radio and why is there an 8-second pause between songs on Z100? That's like, ah. And it's because of what George does that you don't see that is all smooth. So
it's also important to point out that the difference between film, graphics, video, music, the line between those is consolidating every 6 months. The technologies all pretty much utilize the same foundational points now. So technology is using film for capture is all the same stuff that social media is using for generating visual content. There's very little difference between all of it now. It's just how you use it. The tools can make many things.
Next.
Hi, I'm Mark. I'm a freshman here at Hofstra. Really hasn't gotten a chance to get involved yet. I just want to put an application with WRHU though. I have a really strong interest in the operational side, particularly with audio and data aspects. I'm a huge nerd. I love dual automation. I know one of you guys does radio station automation. I would love to see how I could like relate those skills I have to like enjoy my life halfway across the world to like play in the radio.
You're like my son who manages to get into our system at home from Seattle and all of a sudden the light up one.
Yeah,
I know this class one. That's good. And that's just for technology.
Radio station back on the air from halfway around the world. Okay. Remote control, a wonderful thing.
Gentleman Wager.
My name's Aiden. I'm a sophomore sports media major. I pretty much get involved in a little bit of everything around the station, whether it's talent or engineering work, but this year I'm really trying to focus and dedicate myself on the tech and engineering side of things. I'm also associate producer of The Locker Room, which is the Hofstra sports talk show. So I really fell in love with logistics, just doing that and being in a producer role that I want to see how I can transfer it into the engineering and tech side. I would probably say like something that I'm most proud of, and it's helped me determine what I want for my journey down the road. I was actually an engineering / director's assistant for the NBHE League in the Nassau Coliseum, and I worked a Long Island Nets conference basketball game, and that definitely set the tone for me of that I want to learn tech. But I've always struggled with confidence in it, which is something that I'm working on. But as far as what I want to do in life, I want to go into sports more than anything in the world. My dream sport is working in baseball. And if I can work as a tech person in baseball, I would love to. But it's really all about the sports industry for me. And I'm trying to do anything that I can to get in there.
Learning to, the more you learn, the more you're confident you build.
Yeah. Yeah, and one thing to say about confidence is that's all you. It's all me. It's how I feel about something. Am I embarrassed to stand up here and talk to you guys? No, I'm confident because I have something to say to you guys. You have something to present. It's yourself. Always don't limit yourself by being shy. There are people out there that are like that may be socially awkward or whatever, but be open, ask questions. You can be who you want to be, and nobody in a professional environment, we're really not judging anybody, and we're going to help you. I talked about Mike Lumbo before. Here's a guy that's just starting, and now I'm working with him to be a better sportscaster, to do football. That's what he wants to do. And he asks questions, and he has the confidence, and that's very important. If he didn't have the confidence to be tough, because like, oh yeah, I heard you, yeah. It's not that at all. He's taking notes.
Don't be afraid to make mistakes. You'll make mistakes. We all make mistakes. We screw up sometimes.
You learn more from your mistakes. it's the mistakes that you really learn from, not always the successes. The successes are the result of what you've learned, the wisdom that you have, right? Because you make mistakes early on. I'm not gonna do that again. Andy bought a radio station, and what does he do? He asks me a gazillion questions. I'm like, all right, Andy, this, and these are the things. Don't make the mistakes I did. Because trust me, I know what to expect here, and he's had success because of that.
Yeah, they're not technical questions anymore, but I trust one, and it's been a technical relationship. Now there are other kinds of questions, business questions.
One of the things you're trying to learn, there's no such thing as a stupid question. The only stupid question is the one you don't ask, because if you don't ask, you don't learn.
And if the people you ask, if the person you're asking a question to behaves like it's a stupid question, go ask somebody else.
Yeah, you're learning from the wrong person if that's the reaction you get.
And you may find that, you don't bond with somebody. So, and maybe that's not enough comfort for you. So.
Remember, none of us will go unknown this. We all had to learn it, and we all had to learn it from other people. When you stop learning is when your career is over.
And sometimes you learn it by the school, hard knocks.
Oh, yeah.
You screw up and you say, oh, what the hell happened? And you write it down.
Yeah.
So Ricky just got a split in the meeting, wearing the Santa Cola shirt here, so I wanted Ricky just to talk about what he's been doing at the station and how technology has helped him do that.
Well, Andy kind of gave me the opportunity of a lifetime this fall. Andy went to South Africa, and Andy made friends with people that have a radio station down in South Africa. So Andy was like, we should do a show. And then Andy had an even better idea. He said, we should have a student produce the show from Hofstra. So I've been producing that. Cody's on it too. We did a taping yesterday with Cody. We had, we were doing a radio broadcast, people 3 continents all over the world doing it. And it's a cool kind of thing. And I didn't realize it until yesterday. There was stuff with Cody. We had the guy on, he was in like some London area, and then we had people in South Africa. It's a cool thing. And it's just, but that, like you were saying, is a learning curve. I gotta say any stuff about that, and he's been great showing the way.
How many stations is your Hofstra produced show on right now?
I believe it's 9. I believe 9 is the number.
And perhaps about to be 10.
Perhaps about to be 10. I have to talk about something else.
Make that 12 because we have 2 additional possible joining.
Whoops,
sweet.
All right, my computer just went offline, Cody. Are you able to get them in or?
I never got co-host, so I
All
can't
right,
add it.
They're trying to get, are you in?
You can just hit the thing right there.
Well, I'll do it. Let the other people join?
Yeah, I'll do it. I got you.
Black shirt, that mask.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Silver. I am a senior vision and memory issues major. I got involved in the radio this semester. I did the last semester. This semester I've been doing a lot of stuff with Newsline, and I also found a show on. I've had a lot of fun so far. I really enjoy Grievous, and I want to get more involved. I really like doing the on-air side. I think that's most of what I done. I haven't really learned the engineering side of the production side of it yet, but I want to. I'm just really hoping to try and get involved a lot more this semester and do as much as I can and be involved in as much as I can, because I really like being involved in radio.
Good for you. The back? Yes.
Hi, my name is Adeline. I'm a sophomore. I recently transferred here. I'm currently in the WRNG training class, and I major in TV and film. And my favorite thing to do is audio, both like live broadcast television and like recorded for them to edit later. Those are my favorite things. So I want to, get involved in radio too, and do the lots of professional stuff. And that's also my professional goal, to do audio for either the live TV or recorded film, whatever.
Gentleman here, the colorful shirt W.
Yeah.
Yeah, below the chat. You calling on me?
I'm Alex. I'm a senior audio radio major. I do a lot of WRHU. I serve as the personnel director currently until the end of December. So I help organize the training class and improvement with John and everyone. But I do a lot. People say I'm good on air, but I really prefer the tech side of it, doing live broadcasting, live mixing, but also outside of that, like I try to work a lot with Lee whenever she's our tech director, and before they get too annoyed with me asking too many questions, I try to chat with them as much. And I worked as a production assistant over the summer with a podcast, so I did a little bit of PR work with them, but more of the post-production assignments with them.
And Alex is a recent winner of a scholarship from the Hofstra Radio Alumni Association.
Good for this. Congratulations. Nothing in the back. Here.
I'm Parker.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Freshman television major, and I'm in the WRHU training class, so I haven't like really gotten to do anything yet, but I really want to learn like any of this kind of stuff.
Good for you. And I'm sorry, I have my glasses on, and now we're in the blurry part of what I can say. I can still drive, so I apologize. So, back corner here with the hat.
Isaac Coleman, go by Eli, senior media major, freshman. I've been doing the WRHU training class. I'm with sports media, and also with the Chronicle. But I also outside of this, I'm from DC and I'm from New York. So I also run a sports page, and I've got a chance to collaborate with Chad Ricardo, Fox 5 BC reporter, who also does, and also got a chance to collaborate with Lee Lewis Jr., who's a sports analyst and also does stuff with Commanders. So I'm big on networking and just trying to meet new people that can help me broaden my ability to commentate. I want to be able to be a sports broadcaster. I'm not really into tech, but freshman had plenty of time to get into tech. So yeah.
Good for you. Good for you. Yes, sir.
Great. So my name is Angel Ravelo. I'm a graduate student and I'm getting my master's in journalism. I am interested in broadcasting. I love being on air, but I want to be able to be hired. So I like learning how to edit, how to direct, how to engineer. So if I know how to how to work the board, if I'm able to do that at my house or whatever the case may be, where I need to do a broadcast, I still want to be able to know what the board is and like how to manage and function things on. So that doesn't interest me. I just want to be able to add as many skills that I can. So when I'm out there looking for a job, I can say, well, I can do this, I can do that, I can also be on air. And that way I'm more marketable. I am on Newsline. I'm an anchor for the 5:30 show, and I also do traffic and weather on Wednesdays. I was doing it also in the fall of 2023. I love it. I love being out there and asking people questions and getting stories. And I want to be able to, when I leave WRHU, have the skills to be able to tell stories and help others tell stories as well.
Thank you for doing that, because we need good information nowadays. There's so many ways people can get information. And if you can participate and help people learn and help them make their decisions on what's going on, whether it's politically or just in the environment or whatever, we need that. So.
I'm so sorry, apologies for my voice. I recently lost it for now.
I hope you find it.
Me too, I took most of the stuff. But my name is Alondra Velasco Rojas. I'm an audio radio major. I'm a junior. I'm big on radio interviews. I guess where I would want to be in life is just anywhere in sound. I mainly want to do audio production because I feel like I feel like I'm a pretty adaptable person. So as long as like I can learn anything as long as like I'm in sound, I would be happy. Like I don't care what I do as long as it sounds.
There you go. You have something you're interested in, and just keep on broadening. You'll learn more and more every day. You will learn something.
Hi, I'm Dwali Psych Downtown. I'm a professional resident here at WRHU. I try and show the students that you must be both on-air talent and tech savvy. So I have to ensure that they know how to take care of their equipment. They have to love the cables, not kill the cables, not rip them apart, but to really take care of the tech. If I have my equipment for 30 years, and to me, it's the most precious thing ever. My recorders, my cables, my mics, I treasure all my old romances and all that goodness, and I want these students to appreciate the value that you should know on-air work, but you really could like get an amazing job in tech and other things too. So that's my role here, and I should be really an audio engineer as well, because that's the world that we live in, right? We have to know all these things. So I'm gonna be a broken record to my students forever and ever. Learn tech, learn tech.
Woo! It's a good thing. And you want to know, I want to mention it, and she's not on here, Rachel Haggerty. George is not on the call here, but since George is retiring and George is that engineer, Rachel actually runs, she's 28. She runs the board for Sean Hannity's show on Premiere. And she may be getting a little bored, and she's interested in George's job. And you can go for it. And that's kind of what we're trying to tell her. What do you think, George? Can she do it? If you're still there? We may have lost George. But it's just, these are opportunities. You're in a place and you may decide that you like this, but you know, that looks really interesting. You may want to do that. And it's who you know, have that confidence. So I don't think I got you.
My name's Evan. I'm a freshman sports media major who's currently in the WRHU training class. And I'm here to just learn everything, all the opportunities that are available to me as a student here in the School of Communications. And I guess in the future, I want to work somewhere within the world of sports media.
A lot of sports here. We can help you on that. So talking about sports here.
My name is Luca Delasta, sophomore sports media major, been in the radio station for almost a year now. And a lot of on air, what I focus on, but this year I got behind the board for some of the shows for the first time. And I actually did find it very interesting. I think I like DJing with the board a lot, so I find it similar when I stand behind the board, but I'm also looking to get more knowledgeable in the logistics and the nitty-gritty stuff of engineering.
I'm a Tyler, I'm a film major, and I do the WREP training class, and I'm interested in the tech and engineering.
I'm Chen Xuanbao, and always everyone can call me Alina. And I'm a senior, and my major is journalism and fine arts. I just finished my training class last semester, so I just wanna learn something here, and because I don't really know what I want to do. So yeah.
That's okay. It's okay if you don't know this very minute, because it's
Gives this a try and explore.
your path will change as you go through life. One thing we'll learn to do, and always keep this in your mind, is adapt. You need to be able to, so when you're driving down the road, you're on the LIE, holy cow, you're adapting every half second, right? Because you're taking in all of this information, all of this knowledge and what's going on around you. You'll do the same thing in your career. So I do want to give a shout out to this man, your leader. So you talk about where you end up, and he's here working with you and teaching and working this department. Here's a guy that adapted over the years. And when there was beautiful music, and these were the stations that my parents were listening to, and maybe your grandparents, they were very popular, and then they kind of went away, but they kind of came back with a different, it was smooth jazz. You know, and it was basically the same thing, but you had to make it sound hip, you have to adapt. And then the other word I think we'll always hear from him is selling, right? Because you're programming that format so that you can sell. Really, sales is important, not the most important, but that's where the money comes in. Everything will end up being about the money. And when you get with John, you ask him about some of his experiences that he's had programming in New York City. And to have him here as a resource is huge, because he has worked with big companies and the major players. And it's a wealth of knowledge that you have right here. So you guys are very, very lucky You're lucky to have Andy because Andy, now being a broadcaster himself, continuing on and doing more than just engineering. This is a very special place and SBE will help you. There is now to talk about membership. And I don't, again, my week has been a little crazy. It's been a very productive week, but I've been on the road and on the phone more than I've been in front of my computer. Andy may be able to help me out on this. SBE membership, just the membership is, I believe, $35. $35 a year.
That's $35 you will spend your entire semester for college career.
All right. If you look
And
online,
also, if folks for some reason are from Pennsylvania, your membership may be entirely covered. So reach out to me if you are interested or happen to have PA residency.
yeah, they're in Pennsylvania. Is one of the benefits of the Pennsylvania Association of Broadcasters. They will cover the expense for engineers and anybody to join SBE. And the PAB, as they call it, or the New York State Broadcasters, actually last week, holy cow, you guys won a gazillion awards between radio and TV. Excellence in Broadcasting Awards from the New York State Broadcasters. So they put together this program and there are submittals. They get sent out. I think it's Missouri that's the state that judges New York because it's a reciprocal thing. And years ago I did judging. I was a judge for New York and it was Missouri stations, which was interesting to hear some of their sports and farm reports and things like that. But it's what's important, it's content. But, you know, you guys rock it. These are associations that will also help you with networking and training, things like that. So the company you work for, see if they're involved with their broadcast association. They're statewide, and there's also NAB, which is the next thing I'll get to. But I just want to circle back. Andy, can you just look up, there are two parts of student membership. One is the $35 program. And the other one is where you can have access to all of the webinars and a lot of additional teaching that you can watch at your own pace. And that's a bit more. Can you look that up?
You're pointing at my laptop and it just
I
died.
believe it's $75, but I'll pull that up now.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Brian. The other thing, I just mentioned NAB on October, now June. And by the way, every time I do an agenda, there's an Easter egg in there. There's something I screw up and then we find it when, so.
It's $110 for student Web Extra or Member Plus.
I would
And-
recommend that because that will let you watch some of these other webinars, which are more specific and talking about particular topics. It could be RF. It could be audio, it could be networking, it could be disaster recovery. It covers a lot of different ground and there are so many different areas on those programs. So National Association of Broadcasters, it's a worldwide organization, but they represent media here in the States. There is a heavy influence on content development. So they have a show in Las Vegas in April, which is a large show, not as large as the Consumer Electronics Show, which occurs in January out here. It used to be the second largest show. It's dropped in attendance because of the international travel issues going on now. But the NAB also puts on a show here in New York City. And it is on October 22nd and 23rd this year. I encourage you to go and look at that. And SBE does have, as Jeff said earlier, we do have membership passes to get in on that and reach out to Andy. He can help you get those. If you can get the breakaway, I don't know if when your classes are and all that, if you can go there, walk the floor, see what's there, shake hands, network with people. And we're also represented, we're doing, between Andy and I think we have 3 presentations that we're involved in.
Now I think we had 2.
Well, you have 2, but I kind of got involved in another one with New York Public Radio and another company that's doing software defined WANs. So think of it as an ability to network around the world and control the ball just with a GUI. So it's at a different level, but we're actually working on taking New York Public Radio to the NYC, integrating this, because to have connectivity to every one of their tower sites, transmitter sites, it costs a lot of money. Circuit can be $800, $1,200 a month to each site. Now, by having just regular consumer grade internet service or multiple internet services, we can use this software defined WAN, wide area network, that can deliver programming and deliver content, just delivering data to each of the sites. And there's a huge cost savings, a new technology that's really being developed now. We did have a presentation on SD-WAN within the past year in our chapter, and we will have this other company called Cloud Junction upcoming maybe November or something like that. So
real quick, is Tim still on the call, or did he bounce right? Tim Braddock still on the call?
Tim Braddock here?
I believe he bounced.
Answered. Just see, Tim had offered to sponsor 2 memberships.
Okay.
And I will sponsor 2 as well, so.
Which level?
The $35 one.
All right, so now you have 35 off of 110. That's a deal.
Yeah.
That's a good deal. So for any of you guys that are really, if you're interested, hit him up, like, at 4. That would be really
A
good.
number of the manufacturers, you're talking about the NAB exhibit passes.
Yes,
A number of the manufacturers, if you look on Facebook and places, you'll
Yes.
find freebies. I happen to see one from Panasonic.
right.
So that covers the whole cost. You shouldn't have to pay for the exhibit pass.
Right.
If you look around a little bit.
What you'll see is they'll want to charge you for some of the sessions and some
Some sessions are expensive.
but there's enough eye candy and enough knowledge for you guys out on the floor to see what's going on. Sorry, this is
Also, I'd ask if there's ever something you want to know about. Thank you. Thursday, when I'm here, after the evenings, email me ahead of time or text me. Calling me usually sucks because I'm on the phone all day, but you can email me or text me. And if it's a topic related to broadcast engineering, I'll do a little research and you can learn about it. So it could be operations, how to record something, doing multi-track, whatever it is. If it has audio in it, I'm more than happy to do a presentation. Last semester, we tried to shatter a wine glass with a very big speaker. We never got the glass to shatter, but we got close.
Didn't have the right resonant frequency.
I have the right driver.
It's Gerald.
I have 3 pieces of advice that I'd like to share with these students. 2 of them are general and should help you no matter what part of broadcast you want to go into. The 3rd one is specific to engineering technology. First piece of advice, whatever you're currently doing, whether you're doing it at the station, whether you're doing it on an internship, take it very, very seriously. You may not realize it, but you're building your reputation right now. Because the broadcast community in New York is very small. And when you interview for a job, if you're considered for the job, the person who interviewed you knows people at many, many stations. And they're going to ask about you. When I was interviewing people for jobs, if they came from Hofstra, I would call John and Andy and say, tell me what you know about this person. If they came from Wiz, I would call Chris Tobin, who was their chief engineer. If they came from QSR, I would call Rodney Belisaire. No matter where you're coming from, the person that's interviewing you is going to know your history. They're going to have connections to find out the better or the worse. So even right now, take what you're doing very seriously because you're building your reputation right now. Second piece of advice, and this one is controversial and is probably going to conflict with what other people have told you. I've heard a lot of people say, when you go for a job interview, fake it till you land it. Whatever they ask, say, yes, I know how to do that, and then go out and learn. I'm telling you, do not do that. You will get bored. I've interviewed a lot of people I've forgotten most of them. There is one person whose name I remember to this day, and it's probably been 15 years since I interviewed him. Went right on my never hired list, was he tried to fool me. I don't know if you guys still use ISDN, do you still use ISDN in here? Well, there was a technology called ISDN at the time that was used a lot in radio. And a lot of people I was interviewing, even though it was for a job, both radio and TV, came from a TV background. And one of the things I asked, are you familiar at all with ISDN? Most of them said no, and it didn't bother me because I could teach them everything they needed to know how to use for 10 minutes. One person said, some not familiar. And I said, okay, what do you know about ISDN? He sat there for about 5 seconds without saying a word, and then said to me, I have no idea what it is. He went right on my never hired list. Not because I cared that he didn't know what it was, but because he proved to me that I couldn't trust him. And if I hired him and gave him a job to do, and he said, yes, I understand how to do this, I couldn't trust him at his word if he didn't. So my advice to you, people tell you, fake it till you make it, forget about it. If I ask you something in an interview, you can rest assured that I know more about it than you do. So if you try to fake it, there's a very good chance you're gonna get it. Third piece of advice, and this is specific to technical and engineer. If you want to go into technical and engineering side, learn about computers. Not necessarily how to program and how to code, but learn basics of networking. I was a student at Hofstra Radio in the early 80s. Personal computers didn't exist then. The internet didn't exist. There was no such thing as IP networking. Go into your control room right now. I guarantee you that other than the microphones and the speakers, you won't find a single piece of equipment in that room that doesn't have an internet plug. Learn the basics of networking. You want to go into technology, you better know what an IP address is. You better know what a subnet mask is. You better know what a gateway is. Learn about audio over IP. Dr. Gladdy here is an excellent resource to learn that from.
There's on internet security too.
Oh, yes.
Very violent area. And for the people to go on the wrong end of it.
You will not be happy if you're the chief engineer of a station that gets hacked. And they take over your EAS device and broadcast a fault alert, and yes, that has happened in the industry. And as John and Andy know, anytime anybody wants me to come out to the station just to hang out, trade war stories, chat with you, you have an open invitation, I'll be more than happy.
So I got a couple questions. It's because it's getting late and we're running out of time.
Thank you.
What about networking opportunities with the SBE? What are some of the things you do? You do a Christmas party, you do, explain all that.
So my next part of this was just talking about mentorship. And if anybody's interested and you want to find a mentor, please get with Andy and I, and we will hook up. Some of the people on the call have dropped off, and there's some that are out on Zoom, and I didn't get to you guys. I apologize. We tried to do a lot and collaboratively here. But anybody that would like to have a mentor to learn about something, we'll match you up. Conversely, going to our membership, if there's anybody on the Zoom, if you want to mentor, and we've had some, I know Nick has offered, please let us know and we will get you connected. There is a mentorship program with SBE. I don't have all the details right in front of me right now, obviously, but it is something that we want to do. Look, we want you guys to succeed because at some point I'm going to say, all right, I've had enough and I'll retire. Although there we say, and John knows this too, when you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. Now, that's kind of how I feel. I mean, even when I go to a site and I look at a tower and it looks like Gumby. But Gumby was a TV show in the 60s. And it's, anyway, sorry, Lori gets it. She remembers that. So, it, you know, it has a band like that. So, so mentorship is very important with SBE. There are also certifications. So you can learn specifically about networking. And these are things, when you have all these friggin' things after your name, that's actually good. It shows that you're smart and that you have taken the time to learn something deeper. So And that's about all I've got to say.
I want to mention one thing. As you mentioned, you mentioned 4 major areas of broadcast. The area where the biggest shortage of people is developing is RF. The RF is a little different than a lot of the other areas. And if you're good at RF, in a lot of areas, you won't have a problem finding a job. If you don't find it broadcasting, you'll find it with the people that maintain the cell systems, the people that maintain all the two-way radios, police and the fire department use. There's a lot, and even the people who do wireless microphones in major events where they need a spectrum analyzer and look to see who the hell is cooperating. The lead singer's wireless microphone.
Double illumination.
What does IRF stand for?
RF.
RF.
It's the actual transmission of the signal. When you on your radio pick up RHU, whatever, that's an RF. When your cell phone here is talking to your friend on the phone, that's going by RF to a cell site somewhere, presumably up on a tower somewhere, or on top of the building, and that's radio frequency.
Wi-Fi also would be RF.
Wi-Fi, yeah.
So anything where you do not see a physical wire, most of the time it's going to be using radio waves or microwaves.
Yes, and that whole area is very, very heavily understaffed. Too many of the people look like me. Okay. And they're in their 80s and still doing it.
And if you do RF wrong, you get to blow it in the dark.
Could we get a quick photo with all of you, if that's okay?
I just want to turn, before we leave here, I just want to turn to the guys on the Zoom and gals. Thank you for joining.
Thanks for joining us. Please remember to subscribe to SBE 15 New York City.